Well, good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon, and happy Tuesday to you all. Greg Angello here with you. August 5th. We are now in the month of August, and half the year is has moved on behind us, folks. And hope that you are all doing well. Welcome back to Planet One Radio here on YouTube. It is a pleasure to be back with you all. This is we're right in the middle of a rain soaker right now. We've got flood advisories, flood warnings going on. We've had some dramatic weather changes in the last 2 or 3 days. It was crazy. The Prior to that, the whole month, most of June and July, we've had mid 90s, 100 degrees, humidity, 107, all of that. And then Sunday, I think it was Saturday night, we had a storm come in. The power was going on and off for a little bit, nothing major. But then Sunday, it was like in the 70s, drizzly. Yesterday, about the same. And now we have this huge rain event going on. I was scheduled to be at a property this morning at 10 o'clock, and I spoke to the client. I'm in the turf business, so it's pouring rain out there. Now I don't mind going out sometimes in the rain and you know doing the measurements and all that and talking to the clients. But when the customer said that their backyard was nothing but red dirt and it's a mudslide back here, we're like, okay, let's just go ahead and reschedule that. So we're working on doing that. And so that sort of like put a damper in my schedule for today. I didn't really see the forecast all that much. I don't really, not all that. Maybe I should be a little bit more concerned if it's going to be a lot of rain or not, or what the forecast forthcoming is going to be. I don't know. I don't really look at that. I had some people saying that, we were going to get into a lot of rains, maybe an inch or more by Tuesday through Wednesday. So, but sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. And, you can't live your life by the weather. However, when you have little ones and you can't transition them somewhere else, now the way that it works with us is that, Isaac is home from school for the summer. And we're going to talk a little bit about this now. I spoke a little bit about this on a previous podcast that I did. The last one that I've done on Planet One was about, why is August can be such a stressful month? And there are many reasons, right? I would say that out of all the seasons, that in the end of summer, August is probably the most stressful. Even though we have the end of the year, but the December going into the new year, some people are, have no idea what the new year is going to look like, but that's usually surrounded by the holidays, right? You have a lot going on. You're not really thinking about what's going to happen day to day in the month of December. You're just excited about that it's Christmas time, or you're celebrating the holidays. You could be out with family and friends and people from out of state visiting and all of those things. And so that is what your mind is preoccupied with. August is a little different. Some people are tired of the heat. They're ready for the change. I know there are some people in July that are ready for the change, especially those of you in up north. But here in the South, yes, we do look forward to a change, but that doesn't really happen until like November or December here. Our September's, October's, middle of November's are mirror a lot of summertime. It's not usually to the end of November till December that we start seeing more cooler temperatures. A lot of it depends on where you are here in the Charlotte region in North Carolina. I mean, obviously those are in the northern area, closer to Tennessee. Obviously, you're going to see some cooler weather, but closer to South Carolina, yeah, it's still summertime, September, October, which was interesting when we came down here. A lot of the communities that have pools, they were closing them, after Labor Day, and it's like 90 degrees in September. I'm like, why are they closing the pools? I didn't still don't understand that. I don't know what it is. Probably some state law things. I know there's a lot of apartment complexes and townhome communities that have pools. And of course, I think that should be a state mandate. It should actually be the citizens of the state of North Carolina should be able to vote on whether or not they should keep the pools open and not having some, bureaucracy tell us when you can't swim. Okay. So getting back to transition and today's weather. So normally what happens is when I have scheduled appointments and have to be out and all those sort of things, usually almost every day, we take Isaac over to the school. And then we pick him up later in the afternoon. Even my wife brings him home, usually around 3:30, that sort of thing. But when we have a weather event, we don't usually just like to cart him up there just to hang out and do nothing. It's just the way that it is. So, and you may be in that situation. You may be in a situation where if you're self-employed and you're well, if you're working at home and you're trying to do business at home, making phone calls and all of that, that's great. Your kids are with you, and that's why many of us are excited. Maybe not so much me, but maybe when I say us, whoever that may be, are excited that the kids are going back to school. So Isaac is scheduled to be back next Wednesday, which I believe that's going to be the 13th. 13th or 14th, he's going to be back. Now, is he excited about that? No, not really. Does he know he has to do it? Yes. And so that's part of the transition we face is moving into a new realm of, what is this going to look like? What the experience is going to be? How is this all going to work out if it does or doesn't? Now, and then the same thing goes for those of you at home that have, children that are that are in high school now, and you're getting ready to go to college and they're going out of state. You're making travel plans, trying to book yourselves into an area. You may fly up there for the weekend and then, you know, say your goodbyes. And it's an emotional time. I would say that August through the end of August through September isn't it's a very emotional time, depending upon where you are. I mean, you could be watching this now and your kids are, have all flown the coop and you've been empty nesters for a while and this is your life and you're excited about it. And maybe some of you are just happy that your kids are somewhere else. You're like, I'm not glad they're not home. It's been stressful. So it's all emotional based is really what it is. So how do we really focus on, how do we embrace it to where it's not stressful? I had some people that I've known that they were posting, this was a few years ago, that their kids were going away to college and it was going to be a very, very emotional transition. They were not happy that their kids were going to be gone. Um, and it's like you're missing someone. I don't know if you want to put it into the same thought as, when somebody passes. I mean, you're going to see your kids again, family members again at one time. I think to me that may have been, I don't know what their environment at home was like, but I think that to me, just my own personal opinion, that's a little bit of extreme. It's not like, as we say in Italian, morta, right? It's a morta thing going on when the kids leave. Now, maybe the parents didn't want the kids to leave. And that's why there's some families who have homeschooling all the way up through high school. And if your families that do that, I applaud you. It's not easy. I know many families that have done homeschooling with their kids. They don't want to get them in public school and they don't want an environment that they don't want for them to be exposed to. So those are all elements that we deal with in the month of August, right? And so for us, we just take one day at a time. That's just the way we deal with it. It's just what's going on right now with the weather, right? I had things scheduled. Now I had to make it. Now I had to make a shift, right? So I can't take Isaac with me around. I was going to maybe, I got some more of my marketing material sent to me with some more of my business cards, and I was going to go to certain areas and put those out. We have some great material we put on for not so much door knocking, but door hangers and all of that. And it gets a really good response. Well, when it's pouring rain out there, it ain't easy to do. So we have to just work it out. Work it out. We have to use our time differently, use it more appropriately, and go from there. I also had a conversation with someone who wanted to meet with me at 2:00 today because they, even though I had an appointment scheduled for a phone conversation tomorrow at 4, they want to know if we could meet today at 2:00 and meet in person. I just can't do that. I told them I got my son with me. We just can't do that. And sometimes in transition, especially whatever you're getting into, I generally like to either do a Zoom or a phone conversation first before I, you know, drive 30, 45 minutes somewhere and find out that, it's nothing that we were talking about earlier. All right. So that is what that is all about. So my, I could say my advice for those of us who are dealing with these heavy times of transition in August is just take it by the moment. Just let the moment handle it, and you're going to be fine. As I recall hearing a pastor talk about this over the weekend on Sunday, I think it's through Psalm 90, that if we look back at many of the things that we've gone through in our lives, in our trials that we've gone through, well, here we are. Well, here we are today. And I've gone through many trials over the years. I look back just in the transition that I made as we were as a family coming down here over 6 years ago. And I'm sitting here now going, man, it just seems like that was yesterday. But when we're down here, I had like no idea how things were going to work out, in which way they were going to work out. And it was stressful for me. Moving out of state to a new state was very, very stressful. It took me a while to embrace it. And, my mindset really wasn't there at the beginning as it is now. No matter what we face, I know that we're going to be okay. Just the way I am in my faith. You've heard this before. I put my faith and trust in the Lord and for him to work all things out for our good. Some of us don't always agree on the circumstances in the way that they are. But the only blame, I don't know if we can put any blame on who to blame, but I don't like blame others for our circumstances. It's the decisions that we make. And I believe in God's sovereignty, that he does all the things in the way that he does them and moves us into certain circumstances for a reason. And that's the way that I look at them. That's how I handle these types of transitions. That is my mindset, and that's where I'm at. And you may not be that way. You may need to have counsel. You may have to, do other things to stay busy, or, may have to take things to make you feel better to get through it. And unfortunately, there are many people who do that. They will take whatever vices, if it's something that they, to help them cope with the mindset and the environment that they're stressed over, and it's not easy to deal with. All right, so that is really so much about it. Some short housekeeping. My individual that I know, I had talked about Aiden Turner doing a podcast with us. It's kind of moved on different ways now. He had, I think he was doing an audition, getting ready for an audition for a movie or something up in LA, but I'm going to try to reach him and see if we can actually do one again. Now that some of the things that he was dealing with over the weekend have moved on. Okay, we'll just leave it there. And so that's pretty much it. That's all I got for you this afternoon. We appreciate you all. Those of you that are out, especially in this Charlotte area, please be careful. We have a lot of rain going on, and we want you all to be safe. So that's it. Greg Angello with you on Planet One Radio, and we'll talk to you all soon. Take care of yourselves. As I always say, be kind to one another, take care of one another, and love one another. We'll talk to you all soon. Take care.